Hello, and welcome to episode 73 of Daryl Show Your Work. So in this video, I will be showing how a MySQL database server can be compromised. So to give my usual disclaimer, anytime we're doing any sort of red teaming or offensive security activities in my video, I do not claim any responsibility for any malicious actions that may directly or indirectly come from anyone watching my videos, nor do I condone it. And this is for ethical and research purposes only. All right, so to get started, first let's see what our IP address is. So I'm gonna do an ifconfig. All right, so it looks like that I am 192.227.83 dot two. All right, so I want to then see who else is on my local network here as far as trying to find a target. So I'm gonna do my ping sweep here, which is fping dash a. Hold on. All right, dash a dash g, and then I'm gonna give it my my CIDR. So at 83. All right, then we're going to say .0/24, and this is going to again scan the whole network. This is going to ping the whole network to see which machines are actually up. All right, so we see 1, 2 is me, and 3 is another host. So 1 is more than likely the gateway. So I'm going to target .3 since that's another host on our network. All right, so let's copy that address. So I'm gonna use mousepad in order to do that. All right, and then our target is at .3. So let me just copy this because we are going to need this later as far as establishing that as the target. All right, now I'm going to be utilizing the metasploit framework again. So to get that started, I'm gonna say service. Then first I have to start the PostgreSQL database. Then we're going to start that, and then we're going to combine steps here, and we're going to start that and then tell Kali to start up msfconsole for us. All right, so we're connected to the database. Now it's starting up the Metasploit framework. All right, looks like we're in. All right, so first things first, let me create a workspace for myself. So I'm going to say workspace -a to create it, and we're going to call this MySQL underscore enum, since right now we're doing enumeration. All right, just making sure I'm in there. I am. And then again, always checking the database status to make sure we just maintain a connection. All right, so I'm going to, as I did in my previous video, I'm going to set our target as a global parameter. That way I could use various tools here in the Metasploit framework and don't have to keep entering in our remote host each time, and our remote host is our target. So I'm going to say setg for global, and then I'm going to say our host, and I'm going to paste our target here. All right, and then I'm going to hit enter. All right, so for now on, no matter what module I choose here, that should be this target should be set as the remote host by default. All right, so now let's look for some SQL modules. So I'm gonna say search MySQL. And you know what? Before I go any further, I actually meant to give a more high level definition of what MySQL is. So what MySQL is, it's an open source relational database management system, and it's one of the most widely used database systems in the world, and it's commonly used in web applications, and it's a central component of the LAMP stack. Think when we say LAMP, L for Linux, A for Apache, M for MySQL, and P for PHP or Python or Perl. All right, so the default port of my SQL server is 3306. This port is used for client server communication in my SQL database management systems. All right, so just want to give that high level definition just for anyone watching and they're not 100% sure what the exact nature of the protocol that I'm targeting here. All right, so we got this just fairly long list of um, of different modules that we can use. So what I want to do is I want to be able to, let's say I want to see what version of um, of my SQL is being used. So it's not that exhaustive of a list. Let's see if I can pull something here from this list. And I just want to know what version. Here we are. So it looks like um, tool number 30 is going to give me what I want. It's going to give me the information I want, which is what version of SQL is this? Is our buddy at .3 using? All right, so it looks like that is number 30. So I'm just going to go back down here, and I'm going to say use 30. All right, and so we see that that is assigned me that module. All right, so I'm going to go to show options just to make sure that that global parameter is set. Okay, everything looks like it's set again because we chose a MySQL mod related module that the remote port is already set to 3306 by default. So I'm going to run this and let's see if it gives me back anything, and it did. All right, so it says that it's running version 5.5.61. All right, so now that I have that information, um, um, let's I want to do a port scan as well and make sure that that port is indeed open. I probably should have done this first to tell the truth, but um, let's look for port scanning. Um, and this is just another method. You know, of course, another method that we can do a port scan is using mmap, but you can also use the metasploit framework to find an auxiliary tool to do that for us as well. All right, so the type of port scan. So since um, SQL, excuse me, my SQL is a TCP related protocol. I'm going to want to run this particular scan right here, which scans TCP related ports to see if they're open. So I'm going to say use 5, and we know that it's open. I kind of put the cart before the horse here, but I just wanted to show different ways that we can conduct enumeration because if it wasn't open, we wouldn't have gotten that version when we ran the version. But again, we just want to show everything here. All right, so just show options just to make sure there's nothing else that I need to define. Nope, everything seems like it's already set. So let's run it. And as we can see, port 3306 on our target is indeed open. All right, so that's just a way that we can use the Metasploit framework to conduct a port scan of specific TCP ports, and it has a UDP option as well. All right, so like now that we have this much information in terms of version, in terms of whether the port is open, let's try to brute force this. All right, let's see if we can do that. So I'm going to search usually the syntax or the format of tools used for brute forcing is the protocol name and then login. So let's try to do that. All right, and bingo. All right, so it's the MySQL login utility. So this is going to attempt a brute force to determine if there are any um, um, successful common username password pairs that we can log in with. So I'm gonna say use 0. All right, I'm going to show options. Okay, so there's a few things here that I actually need to adjust. So let's see. The first thing, uh, let's say I'm going to set the username as root. All right, so I want to see if we can try to. So instead of running a word list to try to find the username, I'm going to, even because I know that root tends to be a common account, used by many different systems. I'm going to just use root as the username to see if we can find a password that is set for that, and seeing if they have a weak password associated with the root account. So I'm gonna set the username to root. All right, and then I'm gonna set the pass file. Now this is what I'm going to use a word list against. That's the password, and I'm gonna use a word list to basically see if they have a weak enough password where it matches an entry in our in my word list here. So I'm saying that word list is located at user share metasploit dash framework data word list, and then it's called Unix underscore passwords. All right, so that's the name of the word list, and this is where it's located. So I'm setting that as the parameter to basically pull that to run just this brute force attack using this word list to try to see if there's any matching entries in there. All right, now that I have that set, another thing I want to do is I want to um, set verbose. If we look here, that's set to true. And the reason why I want to set this to false is because if I don't, it's going to basically Metasploit is going to show us every attempt to brute force it, successful or non-successful. So we'll just have a screen full of basically failed attempts on on my screen here, and basically we're going to set this up to basically where we're going to sit for a little bit and wait for us to just to show us a a positive excuse me a successful brute force attempt and to give us those credentials and not all the failures. So I'm gonna set this to false. All right, and so in order to get it to stop once it finds that success, once it is able to find that successful username password pair and not keep going, I need to set stop underscore on success. I'm gonna set that to true. All right, set the boolean to true there. Okay, and it looks like we should be good to go. All right, so let's run this and let's see if we can get a password for the root account. Oops, all right, well, I gotta tell it to run. All right, so right now it's that brute force is just running in the background. Let's give it a few seconds. All right, so it actually found the pair. So we have root. All right, that's the account, of course. That's the username that I set, and then we have a password for twinkle. All right, so now we were able to enumerate this, so we're able to brute force this MySQL server to basically give us back a password for the root account. All right, so the next thing that I want to do is I want to use this username password pair to see if we can further enumerate the MySQL server to get a bit more details about some of the things that it may contain. All right, so in order to do that, I'm going to search for specifically an enumeration tool for MySQL. So I'm going to say MySQL enum. All right, so there it is. There's the enumeration module for the MySQL protocol. So I'm gonna use 0. All right, so let's see. Let's go to show options to see if there's any parameters I need to set. And there is. So now I'm able to give it a username and password, which is currently blank right now. We can see that my remote host and remote port is already set there. So now that we have that information, I'm gonna go to set password. All right, so I'm gonna give it the twinkle password. All right, now I'm gonna set the username. Give it the root account. All right, and let's run this and let's see what information it gives back to us. All right, so let's go up to the top here. Start from the top. Oh, all right, hold on, go back down. Went up too far. All right. So it looks like, of course, it's giving us a version. We already have that information. It's giving us an operating system. So it's using a Debian release of Linux. All right. And scroll further down here. All right. It's giving us password hashes. All right. So um, we have a host name, we have accounts. All right, so we have besides the root account, okay, and we have the password hash for that, which is irrelevant to us now because we have the clear text password. But now we're seeing other accounts where we have a file test account. All right, we have a maintenance account for the operating system. Then we have an account called Ultra, a guest account, a Gopher account, a backup account, and a system admin account. All right, so if we wanted to later on, if I wanted to record these hashes and then try to crack them with a tool such as Hashcat or John the Ripper, well, they're giving me what I need to do so. All right, but I'm not going to do that in this video. I just want to show here how it is that that how it is that we can gain this type of sensitive information. So the next thing that I want to do is I want to be able to see if I can also see the database schema. All right, so I'm gonna use a tool to see if Metasploit would give me that information. All right, so in order to do that, I'm going to search my SQL underscore say schema. All right, so we have a schema dump tool here. All right, so I'm gonna say use 0 since that's the only option. All right, and so let's go to show options here. See if I need to set anything. Yeah, I need to give it the username and password. So all right, so same here. And I can set those as global parameters, but I'm not, because this, I think this is like the only other tool that I'm going to use that's going to require that username and password. So no reason to set it as a global parameter, but I could if I wanted to. All right, we'll say twinkle. Set username as root. All right, and let's run it. Let's see what we get back. All right, so it's telling us that was giving us the file in which the schema is stored and the location where the schema is stored. Okay, which is very good information if I wanted to basically grab that or wanted to visit there. And it's also telling us the contents of that. So we have a database name upload. Doesn't appear to be any tables associated with it. So with all these database names on the server, there doesn't appear to be any tables there, but we can see the database names, which is database upload, database vendors, database name videos, and the database name warehouse, which very well could be um, at least the setup for a data warehouse. But again, we're not able to see any tables here. All right, so with this information, let's say I wanted to see, as I'm using Metasploit here, any information that I'm discovering, it's saving it for me. So let's say that I wanted to, for instance, find any discovered hosts. All right, so I'm gonna say hosts. All right, so we see a target here, right here. All right, so it's displaying that for me. All right, and then let's say I wanted to see any discovered services or protocols. All right, we can see it returned back with port 3006 and MySQL, all right, and giving me the version of that, all right, and it's telling me that it's open. All right, let's say that I want to see the database schema, right? I want to see where that's located at. So I'm gonna just type in loop, and it's giving me that location for where I can find it, the database schema and then the IP address, et cetera, et cetera. And let's see another one I can use. Oh, let's say if we wanted to see those hashes, those encrypted hashes that that I could use later to crack. Well, I don't actually have to record them because you know um, apparently Metasploit does it for me. I'm gonna hit enter and bam. So all I really would have to do is copy and paste these and just try to use a utility to crack these hashes if they're weak enough to log into these accounts. All right. So again, not going to do that in this video, but if I were going to do that, I could use a tool like Hashcat or John the Ripper to get that done. All right. So let's try to actually log in to the and start a session with the MySQL server. So I'm going to exit out of the Metasploit framework by typing exit. All right, so in order to make that connection, I'm gonna say MySQL -H, and I'm gonna specify the host, which is 192.227.83.3. All right, and then I'm gonna specify the user, which is root. I'm gonna just say -P because it's gonna ask me for a password. All right, so I'm gonna give it the twinkle password. All right, looks like I'm in. All right, so we remember some of those database names. If I want to see a database, now that we're in the MySQL server, I'm gonna say show databases semicolon. And then we could see some other database names here. Okay, before we didn't see the information schema or the performance schema. Or I don't think this MySQL database as well. So it's actually returned to us more databases than what we could initially see when when trying to view the schema through the Metasploit framework. All right, so let's say I wanted to see what was in the videos database. All right, so let's see if I could, now that I could see that it's showing me more when I'm actually on the server. Let's see if I can actually see any tables under videos. All right, so I switched, so to now it took me into the videos database. So now I'm gonna say show tables semicolon, and nothing. So it appears to be that more than likely these are empty, but in real life, let's say they weren't empty, well, then I would be able to go in and see potentially sensitive information within these databases. Maybe it's sensitive CCTV videos, or if I, let's say if I were going to vendors, I could see, sensitive vendor information, as far as payments, or I don't know. Insert PII, any sort of PII that I could gain on a vendor or their representatives. So, or a data warehouse, that's full of that could be full of valuable information. So you want to just this is just showing just how something like MySQL, how that could be compromised, and different methods in which that could be done. In this specific method, I use the Metasploit framework. All right, so to give a high level run of what I managed to accomplish here. So first, I did some host discovery and found our target, and then I used I used the Metasploit framework to then enumerate the MySQL um, protocol, using several different modules. First, to see if the port was actually open, then to see what version of the protocol it was using, and then attempting a brute force of the root account, which it was found to be successful. Once I was able to find that I could successfully use that password username pair, then I used that to be able to view what the schema of that database was, and it returned to me several different databases on that server. All right, and once I did that, um, then I briefly just ran through different ways in which we could view the information that we've enumerated so far. If we wanted to store that information, how Metasploit gives us certain things like discovered hosts, discovered services and their details, the database schema location, and any credentials discovered. And then it also I was able to find too several accounts, and their hashed passwords, which I could use um, later on to try to crack those hashes using a um, a tool such as John the Ripper, a Hashcat. And I forgot to, if I could go further up, I believe it gave me the version. Yes, right here. So if we look here where I have highlighted, it actually gave me the version of encryption that is using, which is SHA-1. All right, so which is not very strong. So if I wanted to crack these, I probably would have been successful using John the Ripper tool or a Hashcat tool. All right, and then I exited Metasploit just to test if I could establish a MySQL session, which I was able to using those credentials. And once I entered in, ran different commands and found that there was actually more databases than which I was able to see within Metasploit. But when trying to see what was actually in those databases, it didn't appear there was much in there in terms of tables. I only tried one, but didn't want to run through the whole gambit of all of these. This this is a demo, so it's more than likely there's nothing there that's sensitive. But if we were actual like ethical hacker, we would go through each one of these databases to see if we could find that sensitive information, so we can let our client know that, hey, I was able to get this information. If anyone else broke into here, they probably could too, and exfiltrate that to do God knows what. So anyway, please like, share, and subscribe. Most importantly, show your work. Until next time, take care of yourself, and God bless.